Hello, Happy on Purpose. Today I'm joined with Melissa Bloxham, author, entrepreneur, and the woman behind The Holistic Entrepreneur. Melissa has a refreshingly honest take on creativity, business, and what it actually takes to thrive, not just hustle. She looks at entrepreneurship through holistic lenses, explores how our health, nervous system, relationships, life seasons, and even our hormonal cycles directly impact how we show up and create. She's also the author of My Inner Being, a book that invites us back into relationship with ourselves in a grounded, compassionate way. This conversation is about alignment, sustainability, and building a life and business that doesn't burn you out in the process. And I'm really looking forward to where this goes because you're a very talented woman with a lot of
Wow.
great things that we can talk about. So,
Oh,
hello,
thank you.
Melissa.
Hello, thanks so much. I really like your description of me.
Yeah, I'm always hopeful that I get that response. It's like, didn't you know you were so cool? Who
I
knew?
didn't, but thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You deserve it. So here on Happy on Purpose, we like to kind of start not at the beginning of your birth, but at the very beginning. And so before we talk about what you do, just kind of want to know who you are right now in this season of life.
I love that question. When I saw it, I was like, I really like that because that's kind of how I like to live too. Present in the present.
Present.
Um, Right now, I wrote notes because I hate answering questions about myself. I
Yeah.
like, talking about things that I'm doing, but about myself, I'm not so great. So,
I don't think you're alone in that. We're not trained, we're not socialized that way.
right now, I am a mid-40s woman navigating the adventures of raising four teens. Three are at home, and one just recently moved out. I am an intrinsic researcher and constantly experimenting with how to optimize all aspects of my life for harmony, balance, growth, and fulfillment.
Amazing. Well, it's a good thing you wrote that down because quite a mouthful. You kind of had me at four teenagers. I'm like, this woman is lucky to be sane. I had three. Like, okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the youngest is 12. So, but he's turning 13 January 4th. And my oldest is 19 and she's turning 20 in March. So I will have four teenagers come January 4th.
Right. And really 12, 20, 25 to 25, it's all sort of, it's a little different, but it's all, they still need us. There's this
They
notion
do.
that at 19, they're legal adults. And so that should be good. It's like, no,
Yeah, yeah, we're
this,
still we're still, mother-daughter. We're more
yeah,
friends most of the time, but we're still,
yes.
that aspect is still there.
Yeah. So did that raising your kids, did that inspire this sort of new phase of your work, or have you always been in the line of work that you're in, which we'll get into in more detail, but did they inspire having the children? Did they inspire your work?
Definitely inspired my work. I started off as an entrepreneur when I was 15 or 16. I started tutoring math and charging hourly for that.
Amazing.
I grew up with an entrepreneurial father. He had his own business and we worked with him. So I learned all aspects of business from him. Um, my kids inspired me to this line of work because I feel like I owe them the best possible life I'm capable of providing. So like I said, I'm constantly trying to make sure I have harmony and balance in my life, and that includes their fulfillment.
Yeah. I mean, that's powerful coming from a counseling background. I mean, there's always, we say it all the time, if only we could get the parents on board, you know, and if heal our own selves so that we can then help them be better versions of themselves and move
Exactly.
forward in the community and in the world in a healthier, safer way.
Hmm.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I that resonates
exactly.
for sure.
Thank
So
you.
I want to get into what you do because I think the listeners will really benefit from this conversation. And you call yourself a holistic entrepreneur. So what does that mean to you in real life terms and not buzzwords like don't use any industry slang. Let's break it down for these
I
folks
don't
listening.
usually use industry slang, so this should be easy for me.
Good.
I try to take into account every aspect of a life. So when I'm working with a client, I'm not just taking the work that we're doing together, I'm taking into consideration their family life, what age and stage they're at in life. Are they male, female? How many kids do they have? Are they eating properly? Are they sleeping properly? Um, all of these things affect your creative output and your ability to really sit with people and do your best work. So I do that for myself, and then I try to share that with my clients.
Mhm. Yeah, it's so true, right? We're just so stuck. And I think with people that are in business for themselves or even nonprofits or even people on boards for volunteer, we get so busy in the doing that we forget that the self has to come first. We hear it all
Exactly.
the time, put the oxygen mask on first, but who does it? That's what I want to know. We're still
Yeah.
not getting the message somehow.
Yeah. No, I had the thought this morning that I'm trying to be a good person and be good to myself and to balance the two.
Interesting that you see those as separate. I've never really
Mm.
thought about it like that. But
Mm.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
true. We do almost have to come out of ourselves a little to see that we are people that need tenderness too, and we can give it to ourselves.
Exactly. Well, I get lost in giving and supporting other people.
Yes.
And that's where I really have, like, that's where my children inspired that self-care for myself is because if I'm not good, they're not good. Like
Yeah.
I'm an independent parent, so there's nobody else.
Yes.
So if I'm not healthy, then I can't provide or help them. So yeah, it's really important to be good to myself.
Yeah. And what a great message to them, especially teenagers. Like, they get into their 20s and they start to realize, oh, right, the body doesn't do what I'm like, oh, this is a never-ending journey. You think, and
Exactly.
they get out of school and the world becomes so big when high school or school is their world. It's their
Yeah.
whole thing, and then they get out and it's nice to have that to be able to come back to you to look for
Mhm.
guidance or show not what do they say, do as I say, not as I do, and you're saying do as I do, right?
Yes,
Yes,
exactly. Well,
and more so and more so.
even this interview, even every aspect of my life, I'm always thinking, okay, if I would encourage my children to do it, then I better do it, and I don't
Wonderful.
like to talk about myself or do interviews, so
Yeah,
this is good practice for me.
it is. You're like, I'm very excited but nervous, and I'm like, that's awesome, because that's exactly the voices that I really want to highlight, because there are those very gregarious, charismatic people that are, in HR positions or marketing or whatever, and they can go out and say it all the time. But when you have to market yourself,
Yeah.
it's really hard. It is
It
really
is.
hard because you don't
Yes.
want to sound braggadocious. You don't want to
No.
sound egoic. You kind of want it, but you still want to get the message out that your work is amazing
Yeah.
and you
Well,
you know
thank
it
you.
gets results.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, what are some of the invisible factors that you see impacting creativity and output that people tend to ignore? We started with kind of self care, but I feel like that sort of rolls in when people are trying to do it all. What do they
Mhm.
ignore?
I think two things. I think the way that they talk to themselves, I think the way that they frame things to
Mm,
themselves is super important. I hear a lot, oh, I'm too busy, I can't do
mm,
this, I don't have the time, I'm overwhelmed, or I'm not that person. But if you reframe those things just simply, I'm a strong advocate of words, and
mhm.
words are very powerful. And so when you use the right words and they mean something to you, it can change the way that the word, like your world flows.
I agree. There's
Hmm.
um there's a lot of people in the counseling world that we believe that's a very large, besides relationship and rapport with a client, it's hearing themselves out of their own mouths back into their own ears. we're not the solution, they're the solution. But
Yes.
when we stay, in the head and ruminate, and predominantly with women, I know men struggle with it, but the self-talk is horrendous,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's so bad, so bad. Would never
Well,
say it to someone else.
I have two studies to share with you. I don't know the research or the accountability on them,
Mhm.
but I thought they were really interesting. And you probably have heard of at least one of them, the 90-second uh what is it, rule?
Rule.
Where
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
where they instead of journaling, the therapist got her clients to do a voice note, a 90-second voice note, and just hearing themselves
Mhm.
healed them some percentage more. Like it was quite significant.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So saying it out loud and then hearing yourself is like a really good way to just be aware of what you're saying and how it's impacting you. And there's also something about the vagal tone,
Mm,
that it soothes you just by talking. It soothes your nervous system, which
yeah.
I can attest to.
Yes.
I'm very quiet, and I notice that it makes me more nervous. But once I start talking, everything starts settling down, and you can relax into the experience.
Yeah.
The other study that I heard about was this was I think in the 60s or 70s. They took 12 people and they put them in complete darkness. And then they studied the way that it impacted them psychologically. And within 48 hours, everybody was going insane,
Wow.
absolutely insane, but except for one man. And he had a very simple process, and it was just naming what he was doing as he was doing it out loud. And so, I'm going to sit down, I'm standing up, I'm moving around the room. He was saying it out loud and he stayed grounded in reality.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I know that humming, like,
Mm,
we've been taught that too for the exact same reason, that there's just even with this cyclical sighing, but if you make that exhale a sound,
mhm.
it's even way more beneficial.
I sigh a lot. My kids are like, uh-oh, are you okay?
Yeah, no, just recalibrating.
Exactly. That's exactly my answer to them.
Yes. Yeah, very smart, very wise. I mean, even those simple little things, yeah, I imagine maybe someone's listening in their car or whatever. If you told yourself you had to do that, just sigh loudly at every stop sign. I know, doesn't it make you want to just take a breath in? All right, everybody breathe in and sigh out. We can do these
Exactly.
simple things. And,
Yeah.
we talk a lot, there's a lot of buzz around meditation and mindfulness at the moment. And that's really what it is.
Hmm.
It's just coming
Yeah,
back, right? Getting out of your head.
that's so true.
Yeah. So how do you incorporate all that into your work? And maybe this is a good segue to just say in detail a little more, like so who would be looking for your services?
Uh, I like to work with extroverted entrepreneurs that are just scattered and they need
Mm,
to talk it out. I mean, if you're an introvert, it's good too, but I find my best work is with extroverts. They tend to like the dynamic between us
yeah,
works well. Um, and yeah, they feel like there's something greater than who they are and what they're doing, and um, that's their purpose is to do something better than what they're doing all like presently.
right. So is it more like, are you just sort of helping them find themselves, or are you helping with social media and websites and getting their brand? Are you more of an assistant, or are you more of a coach?
I don't call myself a coach. I would prefer maybe guidance or mentorship in
Yep.
that aspect of my work. But I do like to help with messaging. So a
Mm,
lot of my clients are female entrepreneurs. They're in the coaching world or educators in some way. And I have the gift of taking what they're doing and creating powerful, polished messaging for their social media.
Amazing.
Hmm.
Because again, it's that piece of being an extrovert and a multi-passionate person.
Hmm.
There's too many ideas. You know,
Exactly.
creating the ideas when I'm well, right, are plentiful. But how
Hmm.
on earth do you get that from the chaos out of the mouth into somebody that can take it and go, I totally got this.
Yes,
That feels like
exactly.
your work. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I love to really get to know my clients. They become friends, and that's how I can take their words and create a message that impacts other people.
Right. Yeah, because
Hmm.
if you don't know why you're doing it, right, that's always, if you can't stand up, there's a big thing, your elevator speech, all the rest of it. But I find if you are super passionate about something and you just have a little bit of wording, it doesn't even matter if it's polished, just the
Hmm.
excitement of what you're saying is far
Exactly.
more authentic.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
And then reminding yourself of that mission statement constantly with those really good words. It's the same thing as the reframing.
Mhm.
It's like you can wake up every day and be like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this.
Right? The North Star, as they say.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah. And then it's easier to get people on board, I would think, too. Once there's a clear
definitely.
message and you can say confidently what you do and why you do it, which
Hmm.
is why I love this platform because not just what the niches are, but there'll be people that will hear this and they'll be like, oh, I totally get what she's saying. It's her, whatever Melissa's vibe is. Do you prefer Mel or Melissa?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Six one, half a dozen of the other. You look like a Melissa to
Oh,
me.
thank you.
So you'll be Melissa. Unless I slip up, then it'll be Mel. Hard to know. Again, the chaos that is my brain. But yeah, I think when people know the person behind the business and they genuinely can feel that they are who they say they are, they're
Hmm.
more likely to work with. Because websites now
Exactly.
have gotten so clever.
Hmm.
There's a new update about how your website's supposed to look. I feel like every 6 months. It's like, have the call to
Exactly.
action, have do a lead page, do a newsletter, do a click funnel. I don't know.
Well, and then AI is just streamlining everybody to sound the same with
Right.
the same type of hooks. And so, yeah, it's really challenging to find authentic people.
Yeah. And again, like even using AI, guilty of it because it's quick.
I think that AI is amazing for organizing
Yes.
and just sort of using it as like help me sort out this thought kind of thing. But
Yeah.
the ideas always feel like they come from somewhere else.
Agree. And
Hmm.
without somebody that understands that, I think that's the brilliance of what you're doing is maybe going against that grain. I feel like that will be what make people stand out in the future is,
Hmm.
yes, in some ways the website now has gotten to the point where it's just a place to gather information about the person you're choosing to
Hmm.
work with.
Hmm.
But if you see something on the website and have a conversation with them and that's in alignment, that's going to be
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
bomb. Yeah, that's
That's
the
why I need
magic.
to get to know my clients because it takes me a while to really understand uh,
Yeah,
and share who I am and what I know about life and how to guide people.
right. So
Hmm.
what do you draw on? Like what trainings or beliefs or values do you hold that work well into your work with others?
I create my own evidence of it in my
Yeah.
personal life. So I don't have a lot of schooling. I didn't go to university. I actually got a bit of a scholarship, but I remember saying to my teacher, he's like, just, apply, get the scholarship and just do a little bit. And I was like,
Yeah.
I want to see if I can do it differently. I
Nice.
know that sounds crazy, but I really want to try something different. I um, want to experiment with this life. I've raised my children like very unconventionally.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I do what I tell my clients to do before I tell them to do it. So I make sure that
Right.
it actually works in the real world. And with my children, I do that as well.
Right. I love that. Yeah, I've always believed more in competency models in the sense that sometimes lived experience is more powerful than a textbook learning. So,
Yes, yes,
yeah, so there's something to be
exactly.
said about that. When you get out of the way of thinking that you need one more degree or certificate and trust your innate intelligence, the
Mhm.
world opens up. But I feel like that's where the creativity comes in. A lot of, creatives tend to walk that line of,
Mhm.
I wouldn't even say pushback. It's not against the system. I used to say I'm just a reluctant conformist. I need to know why I'm, like why should I do it that way,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
exactly.
and
Yeah.
then be able to use our own intelligence or our, get to know ourselves enough. So what is the actual work? So just really clearly, who's looking for you? So we've said extroverts, we've said women um, that are just sort of feeling stuck in their business. Are they at the beginning of their journey? Are they in the middle of their business journey?
It's kind of all like throughout this spectrum. Um, yeah, so my one offer is called Focus. And basically we sit, we write goals, we set the intentions, we look at belief systems. So we do a
Mm,
belief system audit. That was the second thing I wanted to say about like the creative block. I think that we're walking around with beliefs that don't serve us and we're not even aware of them. So we deep dive into beliefs and we just eke out what is causing the holdup or the resistance or the path that doesn't feel great. And then we move into making a plan and then start taking action. And I just keep checking in and revise as we go.
yeah, very organic.
Yeah. So it
Yeah,
looks differently with everybody. And
yeah,
it's mostly women, but I will work with men for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I feel like there just is. I don't know if it's just skewed because of what I see, but there are a lot more female solopreneurs in our little valley. Yeah. Once you get into like partnerships and stuff and wanting to go bigger,
Yes.
there's more men there, but in the sort of the solopreneur space, it tends to be a lot more women. In my
Well,
small,
I agree because I lived in North Shuswap for 10 years and I just moved over to the other side um, in Blind Bay. But we have a women in business group over there. It's got 115 members and growing, I think.
wow.
And the creativity that comes from that group is amazing. It's astounding, actually.
Mm,
And I think what happens is that on the other side, you have to drive so long to get anywhere. So you can't really have a job. You have kids that are in school, so
mm,
you need to be there after school. So it just brings you into this, well, I got to figure out something that I can do while raising my children and, being home for them. And it sparked a lot of creativity in the women out
yeah.
there.
Yeah, and a lot of times there'll be barter systems in those groups, like,
Hmm.
and so that minimizes some of the startup expenses or costs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a good point being in Blind Bay. So your work is online based.
Yeah.
So that's why here in Vernon it's appropriate because you can be accessed anywhere at any time
Yes. Yeah,
within reason.
exactly. Yeah.
Not Christmas Day, probably,
I do
but
prioritize my sleep, so.
this is a good thing. Yeah, my sleep's all over. At the end of my emails, it actually says I email at random times. Don't feel like
Mm,
you have to
hmm.
reply. Like
I saw
it,
that.
it just depends. I mean, it could be
Yes,
first thing in the
yeah.
morning, late at night. I don't know.
There's a sense of urgency that I think we need to relax when it comes to replying.
Agree.
And yeah, just move into this world of, anytime you feel like it's a good time, kind
Yeah.
of following your inner being.
Inner being. Yes. Nice segue. All right. Well, let's go there since you went there. I love it. So let's talk about your book, The Inner Being, and where
Mhm.
did that come from? How did that evolve?
So I've listened to a woman named Esther Hicks
Mhm.
since the early 2000s. Her story is that she channels a group of entities and shares their wisdom. Whether you believe that or not, I feel like her logic makes a lot of sense, that her concepts make a lot of sense to me. I've
Mhm.
applied them and they work. And one of the concepts is your inner being. And
Yeah.
when she said it, it always kind of sounded like inner being. Just the way that her accent
Love it.
was. Yeah. And I wanted to be able to share the message with my children in a way that they could relate to. And so I just kind of, the idea was swirling for a year or two. And then I finally sat down in 2018 and I mapped out the book. And then I self-published on Amazon.
That's so awesome. I am familiar with Abraham and Esther
Okay.
Hicks. Yeah,
Okay.
not fluently, obviously, but yeah, I'm familiar.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool. It's neat to watch her kind of go into her state and gives you goosebumps. I think sometimes
It does.
it's that
Yeah,
thing of you don't have to know it is because you know it
exactly.
is. Your body knows it somehow,
Exactly.
some way. We're like, oh, that makes
Yes.
sense. Yeah.
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 And again, going back to being, Gen X, even before what we were talking about, the the urgency, which kind of rolls into this too, is I mean, we grew up with no cell phones. We grew up, you had to either find a payphone and you got an answering machine, or you had to wait, or like things just didn't happen 24/7.
Exactly.
And when you look at the mental health of our youth and like the millennials, et cetera, the isolation, all the things, and the urgency, like you said, I think that's a major point.
Hmm.
So is that sort of wrapped up in inner being too, of just slowing down and managing expectations, or what is the
Yeah,
sort of?
so your inner being is, in simple terms, your intuitive guidance. In more esoteric terms, it's a non-physical extension of you that you can tap into in any moment in time to guide you kind of in a way that you don't have the evidence, but you have the feeling sense.
Mhm.
And once you're connected to your inner being, life becomes an adventure and it becomes fulfilling and enjoyable and everything feels meaningful.
Mm. Yeah, I have pictures of like grandparents reading it and them even
Hmm.
getting some little ahas, right? Or
Yes.
parents reading it and going, "Oh." I love those the
Hmm.
little spiritual books or the Zen, the little Zen shorts. I just
Hmm.
think every parent should be reading those to their kids. It's twofold.
Well, to be honest, I wrote it for myself to remind myself that my kids have intuitive guidance and I don't have to be their be all end all, that they have a unseen force
Yeah.
that is guiding them. And the more I can guide them to that intuition in a positive way, have like a really strong relationship with your instincts and intuition, the less I have to be the responsible one for them.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's going to be hard for a lot of parents to hear because we live in a world where controlling our children for the betterment of their future, is the nicest way I can think of to say it. But
Yes, yeah,
we forget that they have come to us, in some ways for us, not the other way around. It is my
exactly.
belief anyway
Hmm.
that they really do. We have to keep them alive. When
Hmm.
they're little, they seem to be trying to do the opposite, but and then even in teenage years, it's that common sense. But they really do know where, if we let them, where they want to go, and pushing them
Hmm.
down paths that we feel
Hmm.
is good for them. Those would be the people that I would end up in my counseling space
Yes, yeah.
because they had chosen a path based on what they believed they were supposed to do, and
Hmm.
it's not working out. I was
Yes.
supposed to get a good job, go to, grow up, do sports, learn skills, get a good job, get married, buy the picket fence, keep working up. And then they're like, but I just kind of wanted to be a farmer. or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's always, I love that message. And the
Yeah,
fact that
thank
you
you.
wrote it for yourself is brilliant, even in a kid's book,
I have
right?
to read it every once in a while just to get the reminder.
Yeah. And that's on Amazon, you said. So people can buy it right on Amazon.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just called My
Well,
Little Bean or Your Little, what is it?
my inner being.
My Inner Bean by Melissa Bloxham.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So
Thank you.
that's one of your great works for sure.
Yeah, thank
Legacy
you.
work, as they
hmm
say.
Thank you. Yeah, so the next project is I'm actually going to be um, working on a series and turn my inner being into a series
Oh,
of a little Caribbean girl. My kids are half Caribbean, they're half Jamaican.
wonderful.
So it'll be based off their, sort of personality, look, and culture.
Okay.
And her name is Kaji, and she will be stumbling through life and kind of learning how to connect with her inner being and learning about all aspects. And so we'll just have different episodes of how that goes for her.
Aw, that's going to be great. I
Thank
really
you.
look forward to that. I think the little trilogies are always cool, and it'll be cool for your kids to see themselves in it, even as
Oh
they get
yeah.
older.
Well,
And then,
they're my board of directors, so they
yeah,
will have a hand in, some of the writing and the ideas and stuff.
what a great idea. Well, we're getting to the end, so I want some really good, juicy questions for you.
Okay.
And the one that now knowing you a little bit, with integrating all this good work with yourself, we kind of went over some of it, but how do you personally check in with yourself when you feel out of alignment? Besides reading your little book,
Mhm.
your very big but small book, a little book,
Little book with a big message.
right?
Um, I go back to basics when I'm out of alignment. I check what I've been um, consuming in my diet,
Yeah.
in my on the screen, on my device. I make sure that I try to, get enough sleep. I think sleep
Mm,
is so important. We don't understand how important it is until you've, become a person in pain. I suffered in pain for many years, so that was a teacher for me. Once my kids got to a certain stage in life where they understood my need for sleep and survival, it was actually life or death. Then I started to get more sleep, and
yeah.
that changed a lot for me. Um, so yeah, I really just go back to basics. I make sure that I'm sleeping well, eating well, and exercising. And that seems to open up the the receptivity and come back into alignment with myself.
Yeah. Wonderful. I think we all have to do that good work. Hey,
Mhm.
sleep. Ariane Huffington wrote a book all about sleep. We're just, yeah,
It's
we're
a whole
just,
topic.
it's a whole, and it is a big, thick book. Like it's a big deal. We need more of it.
Well, it helps with detoxing and emotional processing more than we are aware of. So it to me, it's step one.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So, what feels meaningful or life giving for you right now at this point in your life?
My focus offer feels really meaningful, helping women or women and men get focused on their goals and using my simple formula,
Mhm.
writing my next couple books, Kaji and her inner being. And I have another book that is kind of formulating. It's for mothers and it's going to be available for Mother's Day. I don't want to give away too many details, but
Yeah, no.
it's really life-giving right
Oh,
now.
that's awesome. Well,
Mhm.
you're stepping into being a full on author. That's wonderful.
I know it's so crazy.
Yeah,
I
life
never
just
thought
leads you.
exactly
When you follow the flow of life, it gets so
when
much
you
easier.
follow your inner being.
Follow your inner being. Well, that's amazing. So I think we need to wrap up, which is unfortunate because I feel like we could talk for quite a bit longer.
I agree. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jazz.
So maybe we'll have to have a further conversation at
For
some
sure. I
point.
would love that. I would love that.
Yeah. And so the women's group out in Blind Bay, what are they called? Just in case there's somebody.
The women's group is in North Shuswap.
Okay.
It's North Shuswap Women in Business. You could get in touch with me.
Okay.
I guess melissabloxham.com,
Yep.
um, or support@melissabloxham.com. Maybe I don't know how we can share those links with anybody, but
Yeah, we'll put them in the comments on at least because this will be on social media as well.
okay,
So
great.
yeah, we'll definitely do that. But that's good that you said your links anyways. That's wonderful. Yeah. Well, Melissa, thank you for this conversation. It
Thank you so
feels like such
much.
an important reminder that we don't create or live in isolation from our bodies or our relationships and our inner world.
Mm.
That's in so much alignment with with everything that I believe in. So if people want to learn more about Melissa's work, her book, Inner Being, once again, is on Amazon.com or .ca, probably both, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
And you can find her work at melissabloxham.com, which we will put in the comments. But otherwise, it's melissabloxham.com. And I just want to thank you so much for being here and bringing your grounded honesty to the conversation,
Uh,
Melissa.
Thanks so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Same
And for
for
you
me.
folks listening, I'm Janesse Pearson with Happy on Purpose here at Valley FM 97.9 in Vernon, BC. Take care.